Good morning.
What's up?
How are you?
You just sat down.
I know.
Great to see you.
It's good to see you too. Did you have a good weekend?
It was nice. Got to learn how to not look at the camera.
There's a camera?
No.
Where's there a camera?
Camera, I said shamrock.
Oh, shamrock.
Anywho, so I just thought I'd invite you here to talk about product design, what made you get into it. Maybe start from, way back. Just, paint me a picture.
Where, when I was born?
Sure.
Back in...
Wherever you want to start. It's great.
Wow. So, yeah, I guess it depends on how far back you really want to go. I'll jump forward to maybe... I'll just start in school. So I went to VCU and studied graphic design there, and I think it was both a blessing and a curse, but I was the last year that the graphic design students did everything by hand. So the computers had not been introduced at VCU yet. And so that meant using Plaka, which is a black India ink to make letter forms, and Letraset, which is the rub-down letters, and Ruby-Lit. I know. But what that gave me a real appreciation for was craftsmanship and doing things by hand. And then that next year, I helped set up and install the first computer lab at VCU, which were the Mac SE30s, the little sort of beige ones.
I've seen them, yeah. Only in pictures.
Only in pictures. Smithsonian actually has one. You should check it out. So then that got me really interested in technology. So I didn't know I had that interest. And graduated from VCU and spent some time in the graphic design world doing a lot with print. And then the internet happened. And started moving more into web design. And I was in consulting for a long time, and I noticed when in consulting there was a lot of times where the client would just hand you all of their content, or just say, go to our current site, or take all these manuals and put them online. And that's when I realized that there was a need for arranging content and having a hierarchy of content. And that's when the Polar Bear book came out.
Oh, yeah.
The information architecture book. So I was like, aha, this is something. This is something I'm interested in. And so I kind of shifted more from the visual design side, more to the information architecture and planning side. And, as our careers have evolved with titles from IA to UX designer, user experience designer, now we're product designers, I've just sort of always followed that path and ended up at a startup in Richmond where I really got to work with some great people and got exposure to the Marty Kagans and the Jeff Pattons and the Jeff Gotthelts of the lean UX world. And that's just what kind of spun me in that direction, and landed here at CarMax about 3 years ago. So when I was a consultant, CarMax was one of my clients, and I worked with Ann, I worked with Andrew Looney. And so I knew there were some really great people here. So when the opportunity came up to come over here, I had to jump on it.
So how do you working at CarMax differ from the other places in the product or UX space?
Well, the one thing I tell everybody, and was really apparent to me, is that CarMax gets it. So unlike a lot of my friends who are in the industry, or what I've seen in other companies when we talk to candidates, is they're always trying to push that product boulder up that hill and gain a little bit of traction, and then the company will knock it back down. You got to push it back up. And CarMax from the top down said, this is something we want to do. This is a way we want to work. And so I knew I wasn't going to have to fight that battle on a daily basis. And that was one of the things that really made it interesting and made me want to come here. I also was fascinated by what we call now omni-channel. So you've got the store experience and the digital experience, and the amount of influence and impact we've been able to have at the store level. So not just what are we doing with the website or the native app, but we're spending time with associates in the stores and are able to influence the process and change to help them make their jobs more fluid and easier and hopefully more fun.
Yeah.
So I love having that broad spectrum look at a company.
Yeah, can you think of any times that, don't know, you felt like you were like really working in that omni-channel experience and like made a change based on it?
Yeah, I mean, probably the first project. Well, I mean, the redesign I think was a huge omni-channel experience because our store associates are we consider them power users of our site, and it's not something I really expected when I came here and joined the redesign team. So a lot of our research centered around how would an associate use this feature, or does an associate use this feature, and things that we're starting to get into now with My CarMax. You know, I think that our associates are probably the ones that are using that feature the most because they're actually saving cars, doing saved searches for their customers, and using My CarMax to do that. So that's just one really recent example that comes to mind.
Yeah. Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
So what else? I mean, how would you, if you had to describe maybe the product design team just as a whole in 3 words, what would they be?
Probably get stuff done.
Is that your 3 words?
That's my 3 words. We've got a really talented group of people that are always doing something, running an experiment. They're out in the field. They're working with each other. Just never feel like there is a lull, and not in a bad way. And we always need some downtime. But I feel like our team here is always working on really exciting things, and they're always getting stuff done.
I like that. What do you think is one thing that, like, or actually let me rephrase the question. What's something you always get at first when you tell someone you work at CarMax that's just totally off base?
My dad still thinks I work at the West Broad store. I always have to remind him that no, we're headquartered in Richmond, and I don't actually work at the store.
So he thinks you're a car salesman, or that you work like in the back.
Yeah, or you know, the one thing that I think surprises me the most is that people don't realize how big CarMax is. So when you tell them that you work for CarMax, they're surprised that we're large enough to have a department that even focuses on this, much less the size that we're growing into. So I think it's just when you tell people how many stores we have, how many employees we have, just how many people are in our home office, I always get a little bit of a shock from people.
Yeah.
I think we do a good job of seeming like a small company, which I think has its benefits too.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I always get is like, how many people work on one website?
Yeah.
And actually I thought that too when I first started. I was like, how do you all do how do you work so long on like one thing? But actually it's never enough time to work on it.
Never enough time.
Alright, one more final question. This is the
right.
most important. What is your favorite smell?
I have a lot of favorite smells, actually. First thing that comes to mind is a new can of tennis balls. I probably haven't played tennis in 30 years, but I did play in junior high and high school. Which is something about that. You can't ever open a can of tennis balls without...
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Fresh cut grass. I really like that.
So it sounds like you need to play tennis.
I do. There you go. I would get both smells at once. I'd need to be at Wimbledon, apparently.
All right. Well, Chip, this is lovely speaking to you.
Jenny, it was so nice to meet you.
Great to see you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your week.